and welcome to Community Voices, brought to you by Mainline TV. I'm your host, AnnaMarie Jones. My guest today, Michelle Young, is an energy worker, body intuitive, and founder of Love One Love. Michelle, thank you so much for being here today with us.
AnnaMarie, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I invited you here today because I wanted to share with our audience what energy work is and how you use it to help people, to help your clients.
Energy work is an amazing tool, and you know, we all are comprised of energy. Every cell in our body is energy. And have you ever walked into a room when people are fighting, and you can just feel the tension in the air? Or when you walk into a room and people are laughing and it feels contagious? Well, as humans, anytime we go through something, whether it's a trauma or something, whether it's an emotional trauma, a physical trauma, a mental trauma, that energy can get buried within our bodies. And as we use energy work, we can release that and we can be our more authentic selves.
Well, how did you learn how to use energy to heal? What's been your journey?
Well, I've experienced communication and different energy, but about 7 years ago, I knew of a family friend who was going to pass before he passed. And it's a long story, but I needed to find answers to that and how I knew that. And one question led me to somebody else who was able to help me down the line, and I ended up learning REIKE. And what I realized is that I have a real sensitivity to it, but everybody's sensitive to this because we're all humans, we're all spirits in a body. And I figured out how to use my sensitivity with REIKE. And what happened with me along my journey is that I felt so much better every single day, and I was more balanced, I was more focused, I was just able to be a better mother, a better wife. I was, better at everything. And my relationships and my life improved with everything, whether it was my relationship with exercise, or my relationship with my sisters. It all improved. And I wanted to share it, and not from a sense of obligation, but from a sense of this helped me so much, I want to help other people.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that was your mission or journey, to help others to understand how energy works or spirit works?
I do, because I'm so sensitive, and I just feel like I have so much to share. And one of the things along my journey is I started channeling from the very, very beginning, and I learned so much from that channeling. So I feel like I have a lot to share in terms of developing those gifts with everybody, because the whole point is I want to empower people to develop their own gifts and their own relationship so that they can have their own experiences.
So talk to me more about that. What are some of the modalities that you're using to teach people or help your clients? You mentioned REIKE, but are there any other ways and how does your channeling come into that? So, and you write, right? Is that how you channel? Okay. Mm-hmm. So talk to us. I might be throwing too much at you at once, but talk to us about the way the messages are coming to you, and what are the modalities that you're using to then transfer that?
So what helped me build my foundation was when I met these 3 women, and they worked together, but the one was a REIKE master. So I went all the way up to REIKE master teacher over the course of a few years. I don't recall exactly how long, but it was quick. And what it did was, REIKE, when you get attuned in REIKE, it brings out all of your natural gifts. And one of the gifts it brought out for me was writing. Mm-hmm. And what I learned was that I would sit down with a pen, I would meditate, and I would start receiving messages in writing, transcriptions, which eventually evolved into poems. But they were teaching me, and every day I learned something new.
When you say they, you mean spirit?
Yes.
Okay.
And my husband would not joke, but he was curious, and he would say, well, she's not online. She's sitting in a room by herself with the lights off writing, know. So, and
I've seen your writing. It just, to me, it doesn't look decipherable. It doesn't look like something that I could read, but you're understanding what's coming through.
Well, because when I write, Spirit's very efficient, and we don't stop between words, and if one word ends in an E and the next word ends in an E, there's one E, so sometimes it is hard to go back and read.
Right.
But what it's taught me, going through the different Reiki attunements and then my own channeling and writing, and different people that I've met through my journey, I've established this relationship, and a very, very strong relationship with energy. You know, because we're energy, we're spirits in a body, there's spirits on the other side, but it's our entire environment. It's everybody that we interact with, it's everything in our environment. And then all of that one mentor led to another, and now I'm working with Body Intuitive, which is an amazing system, and it's advanced energy modality. And Body Intuitive uses a structured sequencing of questions where we're working with the energetic body, and we're connecting the energetic mind and body. So I'm muscle testing the person who I'm working with, and through a structured series of questions, your body is telling me what your healing priorities are. And the thing is a lot of our physical symptoms, whether it be a headache, a migraine, knee pain, or something more significant like autoimmune disease, cancer, all of these symptoms have an emotional context. And releasing this having the emotional resolution is key to our healing. And that's where my gifts come in, because I can get the answers, and then it's easy for me through my channeling to tap into what the emotional resolution that wants to be healed is. And as we do this, we're peeling back the layers of our onion, and we're becoming in touch with our more authentic selves. And from that place, we can make more grounded decisions, have more balance, thrive better.
That's fantastic. And I'm just sitting here in awe, but also knowing the power of this, because I've practiced this myself, or not practiced it, but I've been a client. And laying on that table, I mean, anyone could be suspicious and wonder how it works, but I've definitely felt, whether it's Reiki, you know, I've had a hard time on my own meditating in the past, and I felt like when I worked with you, I went right into a place of feeling calmer, and I even felt lighter in my body when I was on the table, so I thought that was amazing. But does one have to be open to it to experience or to heal, or how does that work for the person who's on the table? Like if someone is shut down, like, yeah, this isn't going to work, is it going to work, or does it still work? I don't know.
There's going to be some benefit, but the trust is a must.
Okay.
And the more you trust, the more you're going to get something out of it, because it's a combination of things. And what's happening, Reiki is a little bit more abstract. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because it's not abstract, but it's a little bit of a harder concept for people to understand, because it is a little bit more spiritual as compared to Body Intuitive. So Body Intuitive is
Who developed that program?
So Dr. Janet Galipo, who is a doctor of Chinese medicine, and she has an amazing resume and experience with all of this. And Dr. Laura Stuve is a biochemist, so she's a doctor of Western medicine. And they're merging the brilliance of the two worlds. So it's the most up-to-date scientific information. I mean, we're talking epigenetics, we're talking about, you know, all of the most updated information going on scientifically. Dr. Stuve has 26 years in academia and R&D, and has left that world completely because she finds energy medicine to be so effective. And they're joining forces because they really want to empower healthcare practitioners, doctors, nurses, occupational therapists. I don't have a medical background, but I can be just as effective using their modality. So they're the ones who have established the structured entryway, so to speak, to create a roadmap where, say, if it was you working with me, it would be your body telling me what your priorities are. But I'm asking from these brilliant doctors who are creating the structured path to go down.
Right.
But it takes an intuitive foundation to really understand that.
That's pretty amazing.
And everybody's intuitive. We all have the same amount of access to this gift, but it's like playing a piano. You know, anybody could learn to play the piano, but to be good at it and to really practice, you need to sit down, you need to practice every day. The piano needs to be in tune. You know, it's a combination of things. It's not, you're not going to just sit down and play a piece from Mozart.
Right. Unless you can channel it. Just kidding. You know, I've heard of kids when they're little
Right.
who have this, they say, a natural gift, and they can sit down and just play, which to me is spirit working through a child, because, or through whoever can do that, because that is just incredible. But anyway, I digress. So how did you come up with the name of your organization, Love One Love?
So through my channeling, I love this story, and I still get chills every time I read it. And if you want, I can read it here now, but I want to tell a little bit of the story. So as we expand our consciousness and we wonder and we ask questions, we get answers. So, you know, we all have free will, and God can't override our free will. So, but if we start exploring and getting curious about situations in our lives, that's how more information can come to us. And that's part of playing the piano and establishing your relationship. So I guess I had been writing for a few years, maybe like 3 years. And a lot of times my messages, it was a key like sign out, it was LOL. And I knew Spirit wasn't laughing because I can hear when they're laughing. So I just thought they were saying lots of love. And one day I got curious and I asked what it meant. And they're like, no, and it's love one love. And the other part of that is a big concept, but we're all one. So as one person heals, it raises the vibration and it opens up space for others to heal as well. And it's just like how, you know, everything in our life is love. It's how we show up for it. So whether it's somebody giving you, you know, a kiss under the mistletoe, or whether it's somebody, a car accident, there's love involved, but it's how we show up and see the collateral beauty and clear what we need to clear within and move and rise to the occasion.
So Spirit is saying that you need love to heal. Love is what heals. Is that a message?
Well, we're all born with the same amount of love. Like, we all have infinite access. We all have access to this communication and to this guidance, and it's how we show up and develop that makes us, you know, like how we can use our tools to empower ourselves. I think I kind of not answering that question perfectly.
No, you are. I think that, are you saying that love is a tool for healing? Is that?
Love is a frequency that we can vibrate at. So when we show up with love in our lives and we're clearing it out, like for example, if something traumatic happened to me when I was younger, and 30 years later, somebody else could do something and it would trigger me because I never emotionally resolved that. So as I show up with the wonder and the curiosity, and I clear back that layer from that emotional resolution from when I was younger, I'm now able to show up with love in this situation here.
Okay.
Does that make more sense?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
we have that opportunity, whether it's a kiss under the mistletoe or a car accident, you know, we have that opportunity to see where our responsibility is and how we can show up with love.
Okay, got it. I might go off topic a little, just because I bet you a lot of people watching will wonder about Spirit in terms of being negative or bad. I mean, is there such thing as like ghosts and bad ghosts and spirits, or are they all good and loving? Do they all want the best for us?
I really experienced the good and loving. I did, in some of my experience, I did have a spirit yelling at me one time, and I called my Reiki mentor at the time, and I was scared. I'll be honest, I was scared, and she said, you have control over that. You have control to say, no, this is where my boundaries are. So anytime you go into meditation, I recommend protecting yourself and saying protection prayers and calling on highest light, whatever that means to you. You know, for me, it's God. You know, is it source? You know, is it the universe? Whatever that means to you, but call that in and protect yourselves before you go into it. But no, I don't see that. I only feel love and support and guidance, and it's there for everybody, and that's been my experience.
I don't know if you have this on your website, but it might be a good idea for anyone who wants to get more into meditation, if you could put up on your website what those prayers are for protection. So I just feel like a lot of people who are not exposed to this might have fear. And it's really, I I don't know. I would love to get that from you because I like to meditate, and I'm always afraid, well, is there some spirit in the room that's going to like throw something at me? Or I don't know. I get freaked out. No, I'm only kidding. I think it's a really good practice and centering way to be.
I do have a communication workshop where I teach that because it's a little bit more than just one prayer, but that's a good idea. I like that idea of putting them up there.
Yeah. And well, tell us more about the workshops that you host.
Well,
What does that look like?
It's a 3-series workshop. It's 2 hours each time. We meet for 3 sessions. And I just feel like it's really important to understand what some of the communication is, because when I first started learning, things that I would have dismissed were actual communication. Or sometimes you get a message and your imagination takes over. And it's important to understand where that's happening. And as you do, it really is helpful and impactful. A lot of people are very energy sensitive and they don't even realize how empathic they are. And like for me, that's happened to me when I did this workshop for myself. It explained 30 years of my life, and I understood why I felt the way I did when I walked into a party, or when I left and I realized I was picking up on somebody else's depression. It's really important to understand where your emotions are. And once you do, and you have these tools that we can address our emotions, because that's really, in our culture today, and I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, it's just we're very busy and it's easy to stuff these emotions down, and we really have to feel those emotions. And that's one of the primary ways that communication happens, is our feelings in our heart. But if we're always stuffing them down, they have to hit us over heads with bricks sometimes.
Well, I did show up at one of your workshops because I wanted to see what it was all about. And I thought it was really interesting that 4 of us, because you were teaching us about how spirit communicates and all the ways that they communicate through our senses. And it was so interesting that I mentioned that I had smelled smoke, I don't know, a couple of days before the workshop on my clothing, and no one around me smokes. And then everyone else, well, not everyone else, but maybe 3 or 4 other people in this workshop said, wait, I've smelled smoke this week too.
Including myself.
Right. And what's that about? I still haven't gotten to I've been meditating on it. I still haven't gotten to the bottom of why that is.
You know what? This is something that we're all working through together and learning together. And I love that you're bringing this up, because the whole point is that in the spiritual journey, there's no hierarchy, right? We're all on a platform. This is how God really wants it presented. There's no pedestals. It's a platform. We're all on the same platform and learning together. And I don't know how this is going to unfold. Spirit never ceases to amaze me. I have received some messages myself of what it might mean to me, but I've never been in a group situation where I think there might even be 5 of us that have smelled it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a group message there.
Right.
And then, I'm still tuning in, but until the group gets together, we still have 2 sessions left. Until the group gets together, we might not know how it unfolds.
So I did have a message that came through for me. I had a dream, and it was for my children, actually. It was for my oldest. And I don't know if this has anything to do with the smoke, but I woke up and I said, I have to tell you something. And he's never open to receiving information from me, like especially when I'm like, I have to tell you something, sit down. Yeah.
Okay.
But he was very open to it, and it affected him right away. I said, I have a message for you, and I have to tell you right away. And I said, the message is, you have to love your family, your brother and sister included, as if it's their last day. Like, you have to love them as if you're never going to have another day with them. Like, because life is very short. We can't take it for granted. And he looked at me, he's like, Mom, I know. And he was being so kind to his brother and sister for 2 days after that. I mean, hopefully it'll go on. I just gave him the message 2 days ago, but they couldn't believe it. Kieran's like, I think he's playing a joke on me.
He's waiting for the shoe to drop.
Right. He's like, why is he being so nice, But it's amazing, because I had an urgency in my voice, and he took it seriously, and he was like, wow, I know, I need to do that. So it does work. It's pretty profound. Also, so are there any overarching messages that you get from Spirit that we should know about, or is there a general message that you transcribe, or does that go into something that you want to share with us in a poem, perhaps?
I have one. I have one that I can read now.
Okay.
You know, it's, I have to put my glasses on. Love is a platform. So love is a platform as deep as the sea, available to you and me. Love is open, love is amazing, love is free. Yet we think we understand what love is or is not. Yet what we think we know, what we think we can be, is only a fragment of this limitless opportunity. So if there's anything in your life that causes you stress, distress, or pulls you down, open the windows, open the doors, because this is a perfect opportunity to begin to see this amazing life we all can lead. Love works miracles every day, and I want to teach you how to play.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Are there any stories or examples of you working with a client without naming names, or anything that was like really transformational that you can talk about?
I see transformation with every client that I work with, and I'm smiling because it's just like you can't help but feel the love when you're, as in the work I do, I just feel like I'm so lucky to be able to observe these miracles with the people that I work with. I've had situations where I've seen children dodge energetic bullets. So for example, this child, when I mentioned the traumas, how a trauma can really impact us, this one child had a trauma with a very specific individual, and we cleared it energetically, and 2 weeks later the specific individual died suddenly. So had she not cleared this other trauma, you know, this child is 11 years old. As a 40-year-old woman, this is somebody who would be in intensive psychotherapy for years before they could get to the layers of that onion. And I think that's a beautiful miracle. And I've seen so much with almost with every single client, whether it's I see the light around them, I've seen extensions on my fingers, I've seen their experience, like they'll email me and they'll tell me how much better they're feeling. And then these doctors that I'm working with, who I'll be doing a 1-year mentorship program to be fully trained in their advanced teacher training program over the next year.
This is for the body intuitive work?
For the body intuitive. They're healing cancer, they're healing autoimmune disease, they're healing mental issues that are symptomatically showing up as strokes in young women. I mean, the work that they're doing is incredible, and it's just the more we know energetically how we're impacting the cells in our body, the more we can intention our energetic work on those cells.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. So it goes back to that question that I said, or that comment that I made earlier about wondering and learning the name of my business. The more we wonder and the more questions we ask, the more we can expand our consciousness. The more specific questions we ask about science, the more we can expand our healing. So it goes hand in hand. So we can expand on our emotions, and then we can expand on our physical health.
So it's quantum physics, spiritual, and medical coming together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thanks for having me.
The work that you're doing is incredible and so helpful, and I'm blessed that I've gotten to experience it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, AnnaMarie.
Yes, and so to learn more about Michelle and her work, and trust me, she's an open book. So reach out to her. You can contact her through her website, loveonelove.com. Thank you so much for tuning in into Community Voices, and I'll see you next time.